lifting your hips up into the air in a controlled fashion and slowly lowering them back down. And as you do that, you'll feel the muscles in your lower back, your glutes, your hamstrings. If you've ever had pain down the back of your leg, you might have experienced sciatica. By the end of this video, you're going to know how sciatica works, and you're going to have 3 exercises to help you improve the symptoms. Hey, it's Ollie, and as physios working with people over 55, we hear from a lot of people who say, I've got sciatica. But what exactly does that mean? Well, you've got a nerve in your body called the sciatic nerve, and it's the biggest one in the human body, and it runs from your spine all the way down the back of your leg. When it's irritated, we get painful symptoms in the area that the sciatic nerve covers. Collectively, these symptoms are what is called sciatica. Irritation of the sciatic nerve can be the result of a physical obstruction, like a disc bulge where the disc protrudes out of its normal space and puts pressure on the sciatic nerve, or in the case of spinal stenosis, where there are bony changes that puts pressure on the nerve. But it can also be irritated by inflammatory chemicals which are released whenever there's an injury or an inflammatory condition affecting the spine. Sciatica can present as pain running down the back of your leg, numbness or tingling, or in more severe cases, you may experience muscle weakness, or in fact changes to your bladder and bowel function. But if that's the case, you need to seek urgent medical attention. Now, any of the symptoms of sciatica can make it a condition that's really tough to live with because it can stop you from doing the things that you love. So let's get into what you can do about it. The good news is that in the vast majority of cases, sciatica symptoms will significantly improve within 4 to 6 weeks. And the best thing you can do is try to keep positive and patient, keep living the life that you normally do, and find ways to keep moving. So let's go through 3 simple exercises that you can get started with to reduce your symptoms in the short term and maximize your recovery. Okay, so the first exercise that I often give to people who have sciatica symptoms is the glute bridge. Now, the glute bridge is a great one because it's usually very well tolerated because it's quite gentle, but it's a good starting point to start to load the back, the glutes, and some of the muscles around your spine. So here's how you do it. You're going to lie on your back with your knees bent at roughly 90 degrees. And I like to start with my hands on either side of my hips for extra stability. You can put your head back on the floor or on a cushion. And quite simply, you're lifting your hips up into the air in a controlled fashion and slowly lowering them back down. And as you do that, you'll feel the muscles in your lower back, your glutes, your hamstrings working to lift up that weight. So give that one a go. If you're tolerating it well and you want to increase the challenge, there's a couple of things you can do. First of all, you can increase the range of motion by doing a foot elevated version like this. So now I have to lift my hips further in the air, or I can feel that one a lot more in the hamstrings. Now, doing this variation, making it a bit more challenging, just helps to further desensitize the area and show your body that movement is safe. You could also add some weight to the exercise in either version, feet on the floor or on the step. You could hold a dumbbell or a backpack with some books. Just hold it on the front of your pelvis there, and you'll feel that making it a bit more challenging for those muscles that we talked about. So start with somewhere between 15 and 20 repetitions with one of the variations that's challenging for you. Another exercise that's typically very well tolerated for people with sciatica is the plank. It's a great one because it's a static position, meaning you're not bending and extending your spine. And that means that for most people, they can find a tolerable position and use that to work on the muscles that go all the way around the trunk, like the abdominal muscles, the obliques, and the lower back as well. So for an easy variation, if you're particularly sensitive in the sciatic symptoms, you can start with a kitchen bench. I've got a mat, but you could put a towel down to make it a bit more comfortable. Quite simply, you're making a nice straight line, as you can see, between your shoulder and your ankle. And you can see my heels are off the floor there. And I'm just holding that position. And what you'll feel is that your muscles around your trunk will automatically tense up and contract to hold that position. Now, if you're getting a little bit of symptoms, just like in the glute bridge, that's okay as long as it's tolerable. But if it's far too easy, let's make it more challenging. So you can actually go down onto the floor. I'll take my mat. You can do a knee plank like this. So You can see I'm a little more horizontal here. I can go down onto my forearms if that's more comfortable. And once again, holding that position, you can probably hear my voice changing as this gets a little bit tougher for me. And of course, the hardest version is going to be the full body weight plank up on your toes on the floor. And that one is quite tough. So as I said, that's a great one because you're holding a position. You can play around with the position that you start with to make it more challenging. And for that one, I'd start with anywhere between 30 and 60 seconds, just making sure that's tolerable, but still a little bit challenging for you. Those first two exercises are great for specifically challenging some of the areas and the muscles around your spine. But the evidence tells us that really any form of exercise is helpful for recovery from sciatica. So continue carrying on doing all those exercises and activities that you enjoy in your normal routine, whether that's walking outside or maybe even doing some dancing. The main thing is to find ways to keep moving that you can tolerate. So if you need to back off what you would normally do a little bit, that's okay. Just find ways to keep going and hopefully you'll start to see some improvement in your symptoms. Well, if you enjoyed that video, we've got heaps more great content on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe.